For some people, it's just one moment they can't explain. For others, it's a series of small things that slowly stop making sense. Things moving, voices in empty spaces, experiences that don't quite fit into everyday life. And once they happen, they're very hard to forget.
We've been the trusted experts since 1960 because nobody knows tires better than we do. And with over 90 tire brands, we have an abundance of options in stock for your vehicle. Buy and drive today at discounttire.com. Let's get you taken care of.
Sometimes you just need a fresh start, and nothing feels fresher than 4 new tires. Right now, buy 3 select tires and get 1 for $1 during the GMC Certified Service Fresh Start Tire event. Tap now or visit gmc.com/service offers to learn more.
Hello, I'm Sarah and welcome to the Whispering Woods Reddit and Listener Story episode. I have an array of Reddit stories to share today and I'll get straight into them. Are you ready for the first story? I work in a 136-year-old hotel. And this story is by Short Sprinkles 5966. Thanks so much for letting us share it. Huge skeptic with a calcified third eye for activity. I'm a server and have worked at this busy grand hotel in a downtown major city for almost 5 years and have only seen a couple of things I can't explain. The layout and interior architecture has changed multiple times. So popular restaurants from 90 years ago have been on the 8th floor, are now guest rooms. Grand staircase has been moved a few times. The old gigantic fireplace is now a spa and salon and has been many other things in between. Murder and death are common stories here, and a few have even occurred when I've been employed. I was doing my side work last night in one of the closed restaurants after my shift. Everyone else says there is activity with things like music, moving objects, etc. I've done my side work in this restaurant for years, both alone and with co-workers, late into the night, and have never seen anything. Last night, I was doing my silverware roll-ups around 7 p.m. The sun was still out and all of the window blinds are open to see everyone passing by and enjoying the evening. Pretty relaxed environment. My phone was on and I was listening to a YouTube video, and it started malfunctioning randomly. So I assumed my service was just wonky for some reason and I turned it off. I'm sitting in silence, doing my task, when the empty bus tub across from me starts wiggling back and forth a bit. I assume maybe it's positioned precariously on the chair and ignore it. It stops swaying after I look up again. A minute later, it starts again. To be fair, the bus tub is too heavy to be doing all of this. It's usually little things like this that occur, that can be explained away somehow. I have more interesting stories, maybe for another time. It's those small things, isn't it, where you can go, was that paranormal? Or was something happening? And if this thing is heavy and doesn't, move on its own, that is extremely odd. Spooky. Are you ready for the second story? The dead showed me things I couldn't know. What is going on? And this is from Existing External 3362. Thanks so much for letting us share it. I've had experiences my logical scientist brain can't explain. They started as vivid dreams, and over the years spilled into my waking life in ways that feel impossible to ignore. From what I recall, this all started when I was 11. I had a very vivid dream where I walked through a beautiful garden and came upon a greenhouse. Inside was George Harrison, the Beatle. We sat and talked for a while. I don't recall exactly what was said, but it wasn't negative. Just about personal struggles at home. At the end, he said, "It's going to be okay," and hugged me. I left it as a good dream and moved on. Decades later, I came across an image of a garden that was exactly the one from my dream. After some research, I realised it was George Harrison's Friar Park garden. I had no way of knowing it existed as a child, yet every detail matched my dream perfectly. Later, while visiting home from college, I was hanging out with some friends. Before I left, I had a sudden, random urge to tell my good friend Ali that I never wanted a phone call about her death. It wasn't something I would typically say. She laughed at how odd it was and told me, "Dude, don't worry, that would not happen." 6 months later, I was at work and out of the blue mentioned Ali to a co-worker. Less than 10 minutes later, my fiancé at the time, Marty, called to tell me she had died. I about fell to the ground in shock and grief. Years later, Marty and I had broken up due to his struggle with addiction, but it was not a bitter split. I just couldn't watch him destroy himself. Time passed and we moved on with our lives. Later, Marty passed away in December 2022 from an overdose. The summer before Marty passed, one of his best friends, Tyler, who had died 8 years earlier, appeared in a dream. He gave me a strange vibe, like he was trying to tell me something. Preceding this dream, I noticed signs in my waking life that reminded me of him. Songs, music, clothes, pictures, and videos just appeared out of the blue. After Marty died, these signs abruptly stopped. A few weeks after Marty died, I dreamed about him telling me I should try whiskey and hard cider. In that same dream, Tyler was sitting next to him and said, "I told you." Immediately afterward, 3 songs Marty used to play all the time started playing in the exact same order everywhere I went. I mean everywhere. From the grocery store to the radio, even at a casino in Vegas. This continued until I asked one of Marty's friends if he had started drinking whiskey and hard cider. The friend confirmed it was a new drink he was into before his passing and was creeped out that I knew about it. Even beyond dreams, these experiences continue. After my grandmother died, I could hear her laughing in that half-sleep, half-wake phase. It was very real, and I started to cry. There's a clear pattern: dreams and half-dream experiences with the deceased often spill into real life, with details I couldn't have known. Intuition about death also seems eerily accurate. There are countless other examples, but these take the cake. I try to apply logic to my day-to-day life, but these events, along with many others, have baffled me. I don't claim to understand why. I'd love to know if anyone else has experienced anything like this. it's all a bit bittersweet, isn't it? You know, to have that kind of precognitive experience and then something happen. Yeah, I just felt really sad about that, you know. The friend with the addiction, the boyfriend with the addiction. The other friend, she must have been frightened when that came out of the author's mouth. Like, don't ever ring me. I don't ever want a phone call about your death. Or that would have terrified me. I have had a few experiences like that, where I've had dreams and then a couple of days later something very, very similar has happened. Not the deja vu type thing, where I've dreamed, I've said it before, about small aircraft and buses crashing and things like that, and then in the paper the next day or two, something like that has happened. I haven't had them for years, and that was when I was like in my 20s, and it's always a bit, you know. Are you ready for the third story? Ghost Broke My Nose, from Desperate Classic 290. Thank you so much for letting us share your story. I'm not sure how to feel, but I had a ghost knee me in my face and broke my nose. It happened years ago, when my wife and I were dating and first moved in together at our first apartment. My wife, then girlfriend, would get a lot of sleep paralysis and would have experiences at the apartment that would sound like things happening, or she would hear pages of books turning. It would happen when she was alone most of the time, and she told me that our dog would hear it too. Once she had her cousin over, and her cousin heard it too. I never heard any of it, but I did have an experience where my dog ran into the small apartment once, like it was chasing something, and disappeared, only to reappear outside. That's a story for another day. Anyways, one day she told me that she experienced sleep paralysis and felt like there was something that climbed on top of her and attacked her. She told me she couldn't move and started crying like it really happened. That was unsettling to me, and I was so angry. I felt like I was crazy, because it was, I thought, nothing. A few days later, I was alone in the apartment, and I remembered what she told me. And I got so angry and so upset that I started talking so much rubbish to the ghost and calling it all kinds of names. And then I told it that it should fight me because it was a coward. Then immediately my knee lifted and it hit me in the nose to where it actually broke my nose. I have some flexibility, but to this day, I have never been able to raise my knee up to my face. My nose is still crooked, and I still can't explain or know how that happened. I haven't thought of it in a long time, but remembered today, and thought I would share. Nothing ever happened again, but would it still follow? I haven't heard anything or seen anything wrong. Just wondering how to get rid of all the spirits or entities for good. I can see this in my mind's eye of that knee coming up and smashing into the person's nose. That is freaky as... I've changed a bit of the wording in that story because some of it was a little bit explicit. Or it mentioned something that we don't necessarily want our younger listeners to hear. But I think you probably catch my drift. Awful. And I'm not surprised that the husband was shouting and like, yeah, come on then, try me, you know? Because I'd be like that if it was one of my kids. Yeah, come on, have a go if you think you're hard enough, you know. What am I like? But anyway, yeah, I can really see that. The knee just coming up. Poor thing. Terrifying. Are you ready for the fourth story? Creepy baby monitor experience from when I was a kid. And this is from Infitima. Thank you so much for letting us share your story. I've never really told many people this story, because it still creeps me out when I think about it. But I'm curious if anyone has experienced something similar. When I was about 7, my family had one of those baby monitors that constantly broadcast sound from the room instead of activating only when there's noise. The monitor was in my newborn sister's room, and the monitor receiver usually stayed in my parents' bedroom overnight or the living room during the day / evening so they could hear if she woke up. One night I was sitting in the living room watching TV with the volume low with my parents, and the baby monitor was sitting on the coffee table. Out of nowhere, we started hearing a woman singing distinct lullabies. At first my dad thought it was coming from the TV programme we were watching, but he muted the TV and we realised it was coming from the monitor. It wasn't static or random noise. It was actual, clearly legible singing. The weird part was there was nothing in my sister's room that could have made that noise. She didn't have a TV, a radio, etc. I mean, she was a newborn baby. It gave me this really eerie feeling because it sounded so clear, like someone was actually in the room and the monitor was picking it up. I remember staying in the living room while they went to check on her, and the singing continued faintly through the monitor. But the closer they got to her room, the fainter it would get, until it stopped completely when they entered. They couldn't hear anything from the room itself the closer they got, or when they opened the door. My sister was sound asleep. If this had happened just once, I think we could have all chalked it up to monitor interference, faulty electronics, etc. But this went on for almost a year. It was a common occurrence that randomly we would hear a woman sing lullabies over the baby monitor, and the same thing would happen each time, where, when we got to the room, nothing. On one occasion, my mum was outside working on the garden and could even hear it from outside the windows. Our house was 1 story and the windows were eye level, so there was obviously no one in the room and no faulty electronics. And when she went to check the room, as usual, nothing. We had other paranormal experiences in that house, but this is the most clear because I was old enough to experience it. And now, years later, it's one of those memories that sticks with me because it felt so unexplainable at the time, and it still does. I truly believe that our house was haunted in some way, and I struggle to explain that experience. Has anyone else had a baby monitor pick up voices or music when no one was there?
With Plan B emergency contraception, we're in control of our future. It's backup birth control you take after unprotected sex that helps prevent pregnancy before it starts. It works by temporarily delaying ovulation, and it won't impact your future fertility. Plan B is available in all 50 U.S. states at all major retailers near you, with no ID, prescription, or age requirement needed. Together, we got this. Follow Plan B on Insta at Plan B One Step to learn more. Use as directed.
That's spooky because immediately my mind went, well, interference, you know? To have it happen so many times, yeah, it could still be interference. But to have it that it stops every time they get near the room, that's something else. And then to actually hear it from outside in the garden, the singing, that's something else again, isn't it? If I'm not misinterpreting this, that it wasn't the monitor they were hearing, it was the actual singing coming from the bedroom. Excuse my voice a bit, I get terrible hay fever, and it does make me really croaky. Yeah. Spooky. I never had a baby monitor, to be honest, for the children, because apart from anything, they would freak me out more. They were always just with me. I didn't want to let them out of my sight, so they'd be in their little bouncy chair in front of me, and then we'd all go to bed together, and that's kind of how we rolled. But I know you get the video runs, don't you, where people have seen things sort of leaning over the cot. And that's just terrifying. And I'm kind of pleased that I never had one. Because of being a single mother for much of my parenting life, that would have done me in. Well, that's it from me today. I hope you enjoyed, and I will catch you again on Sunday for the After Dark episode. Take care, everyone.
Spring Black Friday is on at the Home Depot. Save on grills and patio sets that will be sure to bring your hosting game up a notch. Fire up your feast with help from the Home Depot and save on grills. Like the Next Grill 4-burner propane gas grill was $249, now on special buy for $199. Or give everyone the best seat in the yard with the Hampton Bay Mayfield Park 4-piece conversation set for only $399. Save on grills and patio sets with low prices guaranteed during Spring Black Friday only at the Home Depot. Now through April 22nd, while supplies last. Exclusions apply. See homedepot.com/price match for details.
The stories told on the Whispering Woods are inspired by historical records, witness reports, and local folklore. While every effort is made to research and represent events accurately, some details, names, and locations may differ from official accounts or have been changed out of respect for those involved. These episodes are created for storytelling and entertainment purposes and should not be considered definitive fact or investigative journalism.